Hi, thank you for tuning to the Just Respected podcast with your host, Marcus.
And Cynthia Jordan.
We'd like to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to give this podcast a listen. We truly appreciate it, and we pray this podcast blesses you. If you enjoy it, please subscribe below. Hey guys, welcome back.
Thanks for joining us again this week.
Yes, guys, thanks for tuning in. In light of this week, we had so much to be so excited for. We have a new president and a new vice president.
Yes.
The first black African American vice president.
Female vice president.
Female
yes.
vice president. That's huge. It's pushing our country in a positive direction. That letting young boys and girls be able to inspire to be more and see more in the future.
Yeah, I've loved seeing like the reels on social
Oh my
media,
gosh.
like the little girls.
Yeah,
standing up. I don't know. Representation really matters. So.
It does. It does. I'm gonna come back and touch back on that a little bit because it's something that me and you talk about a lot. It's being that we didn't really see too much of it growing up, and now that we're seeing it more in a positive light in different avenues besides sports and entertainment, we're seeing it in the political field, and we're seeing it in as like doctors, lawyers, scientists, astronauts. You know, we're really seeing our people thrive and
continuing to
right. But not even just that. We're seeing like a lot of love and harmony with other minorities and other races as well. So that's really good, and it really gives us a hope for the future.
And a lot of influential leaders.
Yes,
as well.
Big deal. We also lost two of our legends this week. Hank Aaron from the Atlanta Braves, or what was the old team, the Monarchs, passed away, and then Larry King, a big announcer, passed away, and it just, this year I told my friend that I feel like we're gonna lose a lot of legends, we're gonna lose a lot of icons.
What makes you feel that way?
Just because I feel like a shift is changing, more so like people that always had influence. Mm-hmm. And being like the people that we always look to for them to speak up about certain occasions or certain events. I'm noticing that more of the younger, new generation coming in. Like when I think about younger generation, I think about like Yara Shahidi. Like young activists that are coming up, that are rising up.
What was her name? Amanda?
Amanda Grossman that did the poetry at the inauguration. She did a phenomenal job. If y'all have not seen it, go on YouTube and look her up. It was really
There's so many
powerful.
Influential young leaders too that let me just say, you're never too young or too old to become an influential leader. We need strong, positive, compassionate leaders in this world. So if you feel like there's something, being done in a wrong way, or if you feel like there's something you need to step up and do, please do, because it makes a difference, and you will have that support.
Right. And I feel like your voice is never too small.
No, never too small.
You don't need a certain platform and a certain accolades to feel like you can't get your voice across.
There are no qualifications.
There's no qualifications. If God chooses to use you, He will get your point across.
And we were talking about that too the other day about leadership, which will be another topic for us one day.
Yes,
but I feel like great leaders are definitely a gift from God.
Definitely, and how important it is for us to cover and pray for our leaders.
Yes.
As well, but so with all
diving into this week's topic, though, we'll kind of touch base on all that other stuff.
Right. But it's coming soon, guys. We're actually gonna hit you guys with 2 episodes this week, so be looking out for that.
Yes.
But yes, today's topic is disagreements.
Which we all have disagreements.
We all have disagreements, and that's even with your friendships, even with your parents. Even in your relationship, co-workers, mother, child, father,
social media,
exactly.
Avenues. But what we were talking about, especially in this day and age with the disagreements, it's very important to have a healthy perspective. When it comes to disagreements, and knowing that there is humility in disagreements. You can find humility in disagreements because, let's just be honest, you're not always going to be the person who's right in the disagreement. Definitely
not. But it's like a lot of times when we're in the midst of the argument, we're so captivated in getting our point across that we tend to not listen to the other person's point of view.
Yes.
It's like we're so ready just to get what we got to say because we don't want to forget it, and we feel like the point is so valid. But
or you're listening to respond.
Right. But you're not really hearing. You're not really focusing on the issue. And it's like a lot of times, even to say if it's not an argument, it could be like something like how you would tell me, hey, Mark, make sure you empty out this or do that. It could be like little tasks, but it's like if you're not focusing on what they're saying, if you try to go back and relay what you just heard, it comes out totally different. Just like that game we played as a kid called Telephone, where they'll whisper in someone's ear a message, and by the time it gets to the 10th person, it's totally complete. It was just like,
I mean, even in
hearing?
the healthcare field, like we realize like a lot of times, like when you're educating like patients or parents, you're only gonna retain maybe about 15 to 20% of it anyway.
Right.
I mean, that's just with the day-to-day life. A lot of times, like I know for me personally, sometimes I zone out. My head's always in the clouds. But what we were talking about with disagreements, it's important to understand the why. Like, why does this person feel this way? Or, you know, where are they coming from? Because a lot of times, if you can understand that a person's coming from a place of love, it takes off that, like, I would say aggression. That edge, that need to feel like, to stand up for yourself or to like protect yourself or to feel like make sure you're being heard. Because I know for some of the reason, like some of our disagreements that we get into is it can be avoided. Like especially when I'm hungry, I become very hangry. So what I started doing lately, I'll kind of give you a warning. I'm like, hey, I'm about to get hangry. Like I really don't want to start an argument, but
when she does it, guys, it's like a PSA announcement, like one of them like Amber Alerts that come to your phone. If you want the day to continue to go by smoothly,
if you don't want the smoke, feed me.
Right, feed her now. So you know, what has it been like?
Because you can go all day without eating. Like you won't eat till like 5 o'clock. I can't. Like I don't know how you do it. But
I don't know how I do it either. It's very concerning sometimes how I can do it. But.
So, when that case in that disagreement area, like sometimes. I'll kind of start like getting a little hangry and just kind of start nitpicking. He'll be like, all right, you're hungry, aren't you? Like, you understand where I'm coming from. So before it escalates, you're like, let me just get you some food so you can calm down. You're not you when you're hungry, right? Have Snickers.
Snickers. Let me do everything in my power to diffuse the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a valid point. Because there's even some times where it's something that I'm so like passionate about or getting done, and you just like, you know, it's like I put like an extra sense of pressure on you.
But if you told me before, don't give me piss poor effort.
Yeah.
And you know, like I said, like when you don't let your emotions drive you, it's easier because, like, you know, me and you, we love each other unconditionally. So we are gonna have disagreements, but I feel like for me and you, we bounce back pretty quickly. Like we don't ever really let it dwell too long.
I think it's always the closest person to you that feels like when y'all argue or disagree, it kind of hits harder.
Yes.
Because there's so many emotions into it.
Especially for me, because we're like best friends too. We're best friends and we're husband and wife, so. Yeah,
and that's so sometimes it's hard to decipher because there's sometimes where you want to talk to your friend and your wife is there. So
I know, I should probably get another best friend.
I know, right?
But yeah, so.
But to talk back on that subject of disagreements, there's a lot of times where we'll, like you said, we'll let our emotions drive us. Where we're a lot of times where we're listening to someone and they're trying to get their point across, but there's sometimes, just to be honest, we're looking to be offended.
Yeah.
We have that wall up already of offense.
You feel like you're being attacked.
Yeah, being attacked. When a lot of times the criticism that you're getting is constructive criticism. But it just like criticism in itself is just something that we as humans don't like to take. Like a lot of us don't like the idea of failure or rejection. So
that's true.
when you look at that, a lot of times I notice for myself, an argument can never really like be for what it is. It could always stimulate for something that was deeper in or something from my past that are pretty much making me put up a wall every single time issue comes up.
No, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But I also think it's important, like, especially in a disagreement, make sure you're validating the other person's feelings. Don't be like, if someone says, well, you make, like, when you do this, it makes me feel this way, don't be like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
Because you don't know how you're making that other person feel. Just accept it for what it is. Because I know a lot of times, like, we'll take offense to things, but sometimes if you just get down to the bottom of it and just ask the overall question, well, why?
Right.
Especially in friendships, it can avoid a lot of conflict. Just like, why are you feeling this way, or why are you acting this way? What's going on? Especially nowadays, like with social media as a platform, I feel like it kind of, let's just say, like, with the whole Trump and everything going on, I'm not very proud of the way how I ended some friendships. Or just, like, some people we've known for a while, people we had, like, a close connection with.
Yeah.
Just because of how they were reacting, it made me react too. And instead of me arguing with you, I just decided to just...
Cancel culture.
Yeah,
just go ahead and cancel it.
Remove you.
Yeah.
And that wasn't right. I could have just been like, that's your opinion, and this is mine. And I could have left it at that instead of just being like, well, you feel that way, and because you feel that way, our morals and values don't match, so we're done.
That was... Off of that, what I realized during that time frame, it was 2020, midsummer, everything happened with George Floyd, and like a lot of racial division came into play. And it was not necessarily something that we did out of our own character, like when people get upset. Well, a lot of times your emotions get in the way. It's nothing that like really speaks to who you are as a person. It's more so like a trigger. Like everybody got offended. Everybody felt like out of whack. Everybody's world was upside down because we also been in a pandemic of isolation.
Yeah.
And and just really trying to understand that, but then also that feeling of all my plans got destroyed. So just like, what's next? Like, what am I doing with my life? So a lot of times it's a lot of things that pretty much boil into one that will make you react to a certain person and a certain issue. When it's like when you said, when they're valid, everybody's valid to have their own opinion. Everybody was raised differently.
Yeah.
But it's more so to show love and compassion, and then show a different light. You know?
And try not to let your emotions
get the best of you. Yeah. But with that, it's so good because guys, we've been telling you that we've been doing our 21 days of fasting, and today is our last day.
Yeah.
Praise God for that.
Finally.
But
we made it.
We made it. But through it all, it actually taught us a lot of things where we was able to go back and do a lot of self-reflection.
And that's kind of how we came back up to this point of disagreements.
Because, and it's,
like you said, during that time of racial divide, it was a big disagreement going on, saying like, Black Lives Matter, and then to get a counterpart from like, the other race saying, well, all lives matter. And we're like, well, we know all lives matter, but clearly a lot of people do not know that Black lives matter, minority lives matter, not just the Black population, but the Hispanic population too, just seeing how they were being treated and just like the callousness I feel like we were getting from some people. And I feel like that's kind of like what triggered my reaction that way. I did let my emotions kind of run me, but like you said, sometimes it's just showing other people another way.
And also it's like giving that grace, because even there are the times where I was just in my time of prayer and just asking God for like direction, and even in our marriage where I felt like things where I felt like, okay, Shad should understand this, you should get this, and why aren't you understanding it? But God had to really do something on me. He was like, well, how long did it take you to get it? How long did it take for me to long and thirst after you, for you to understand what all I want for you? So it's just like with people, you got to give them that same grace of understanding. Like, I don't know what you're struggling with on a daily basis. I don't know what your week look like, and I don't know what it is that it could be something internal that have you like that, or it could be something that you're struggling with that's bigger outside of the picture. So just like a lot of times, people can only go off of their experience. People can only tell you about what they witnessed as a child on this earth growing up. So for us, it's like we can learn from each other every day. I can learn from someone else every day. So it's just like giving us that grace and give us that place of, well, that way of thinking is wrong. Yeah. Let me show you something different.
And knowing that you're not always going to see eye to eye with someone. And that's okay. But still, you can love them anyway. Like you said, give them that grace. But I feel like disagreements, I mean, they are a daily part of life. You're going to have that with your coworkers. You're going to have that with your boss, with your family. So I just feel like it's very important to sometimes just literally sit back and not feel like you're being attacked. Just like, let me try to see where this person's coming from. Because I know for me personally in disagreements, I tend to feel like I'm being attacked or like I'm being ignored, like you're not hearing me, you're not listening to me, or, so I react. And I feel like a lot of times if I would just take that time to just step back and give it a moment to just reflect on the situation and the disagreement, that maybe I could have responded in a more positive way.
It's like even when you give advice to like your sisters or or to other like single parents, you just say, even when you frustrated, don't hit out of frustration, don't discipline out of frustration.
Yeah.
Like really, take some time to calm down, and understand that there's a lesson that's supposed to be given in this moment. There's a lot of ways that we can handle things differently, but I feel like it's the accountability thing where we are able to understand it, and now it's like, okay, now that y'all understand, going forward, how are you gonna make those? How will you mend those relationships, and how will you go for it of teaching and like conveying your point across to that person that you feel like did you wrong or came at you the wrong way or said something that you just don't agree with.
No, that's true. And just like Maya Angelou said, people will always will remember how you made them feel. They won't necessarily remember what you say. I think it was something like that. And it's true. The way you make people feel is a lasting impact. So let's not make anyone feel unloved or unappreciated or like they don't matter, because you don't know what's going on in their day-to-day life. People will put up a good front. You have absolutely no idea.
Right.
So let's not jump to conclusions. Let's not make assumptions for other people. If you have a question or you have an issue, bring it to that person and just see where it goes from there. Because a lot of times you'll find out that maybe that person was going through a dark time. Or, especially with everything going on, I feel like,
Yeah, with COVID, and really right now our COVID numbers are through the roof, where they said that we actually passed the amount of deaths from World War II. So it's like a lot of times that people are dealing with. But even to piggyback off of that, we was talking about the other night about how God has called us to be a light to people. How He called us in certain situations. Like, have you ever been out somewhere and people stop you, or a coworker just feel like they just want to talk to you, or they just want to pour out their whole life story to you? A lot of times we are that marker in their lives that God is like, okay, I put him in your life for a reason. You're sent there for a reason. So you're supposed to pour into people for a reason. So a lot of times it's so good for us to get out of ourselves so we can actually serve our purpose in this world for those in need. So where is that looking out for someone's best interest, like even like the small things that we do, letting the car get over, like not being such in a rush. Someone drops something, going to their car, and you notice, and you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like the little thing that the human in you just comes out.
Because a lot of times people don't even realize, what they're doing or how they may come off. Because, like I said, people are going through day-to-day stresses. It could be the anniversary death of someone they love. It could be they're just having a really bad day. You don't know. And so I think that, that perspective that you kind of drew for me, especially like with my road rage, it kind of helped me calm down a lot. Like, I don't know what this person's going through. Let me just calm down. I'm in a rush to get somewhere, but maybe they were recently in a car accident. This is why they're driving so slow, because they're trying to be more careful. I don't know. I feel like when you try to gain a different perspective, you feel that grace. You are able to give that grace so freely to others. And I know a lot of times, like, I feel like I'm misunderstood. A lot of people may feel that way.
Yeah, we definitely all misunderstood.
But just take the time to really just try and understand where people are coming from sometimes before you just jump the gun.
It's in that heart that you want for, if we was in their shoes, we want that same heart.
You'd want that same grace. You want that same love.
Right. So, guys, with that, let's continue to be the change that we want to see in the world. Let's continue to go out and love each other. We can be that change that we always wanted for this world. And for the next generations coming up, they don't have to know the world that we always knew. We can always show them a different path, but it all starts by our actions. People don't listen to people's words. They listen to the way you model yourself and the way you behave and the way you carry yourself. That really speaks more to your integrity and who you are as a person.
Definitely.
Yeah. But guys, until next time, remember to walk in faith,
never lose hope, live in love. It's just perspective.